see you there. Steve, what's up, baby? My friend. Oh,
How are you?
hello. Good man. Listen, we're happy and excited to be here, and you look handsome as always.
And you look great as well.
You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very important for me to continue saving the world, and I promise to do it as long as my knees hold up. It's been 10 years since Men in Black 2. So I was 32 when we did Men in Black 2, and now I'm 42 doing Men in Black 3. So there are some new difficulties in saving the world, but I promise to continue to do my best.
Look for Men in Black 4 in 25 years.
I will absolutely vote for Barack Obama. And I just think it was just hugely aggressive and, brave for him to take that stand in an election year. And, as far as I'm concerned, it really is at this point about semantics. It's about just a word. And at the end of the day, it doesn't affect me what the semantics of the language are. I mean, it's hard enough to be in love. So if anybody can find someone to love them and help them through this difficult thing that we call life, I support that in any shape or form. Men in Black 3, yes, I still like it. I think that this film actually is the best of the trilogy. It's the first one that's in 3D. I think that Barry was at his best making in this film. I watched him work tirelessly to create something that still captured the fun and the flavor of the first two films, but was something that was new and creative and exciting and story-wise on its own. So I'm ecstatic about this film, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the world audience reacts to it. There's another level of maturity to it. We allowed the characters to get older with, the actors, and I just think it is fantastic and a surprise in the end of the film that I think is a defining surprise. So I'm ecstatic, but you never know till you put them out and see what people think.
Let me put it this way: the fact that you asked me a question and you're the only one here that stood up and said Tommy. So that's how I feel every time I thought of Tommy on the set. Playing Tommy Lee Jones is scary. You want to do the best job. People have asked me, what's it like, the weight of the movie, and it's an expensive movie, and it's a franchise, and you're going in there, and you're not replacing, but I don't even know what you'd call it. Mm-hmm. But nothing overwhelmed me as much as the fact that Tommy was going to see it at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And has he said anything to me? No, because that's very Tommy. I don't expect Tommy to, but the fact that he hasn't said anything negative, I think is a huge, huge compliment for me. I've heard that he likes it. I've heard through you guys and talking,
And for me.
No,
and
for me, he
he
told me that, and it was a rave review.
Yeah.
I said, Tommy, how did you saw it. Come on, how'd you feel? And he was raving. He said, and I quote, "That Josh Brolin's a fine actor."
There you go.
Tommy and I have created really iconic chemistry. Mm-hmm. And there's a thing that it's kind of like a lover, but different, where where you have, it's like where you have a chemistry with a person. And then when you're with another person, it's different. There's no way you can have identical chemistry with another man or woman. And as an absolute testament to Josh's performance, when I was in the early part of the film in scenes with Tommy Lee Jones, I felt absolutely no adjustment to working with Josh Brolin. And that I don't even know how you did that, because it's chemistry, and it's to match the same chemistry and to be able to be into that same rhythm from day one, from the first instant, was an absolute testament.
And one last thing about Josh, and then I know we have to move on from Josh because and get
there's
back
other
to Will.
people in the movie.
Right, yes, but one other thing I want to say is the very first scene we did, Will and I did, was Will being interrogated by Josh at Men in Black headquarters, and Josh makes fun of me because after the first take, the first master, and it's a very long scene, I burst into tears. And Josh jokes that it was due to stress, but what it was is due to total joy and happiness, because I looked at Will looked at me, because the whole movie we said, because we shot in order, so the first act was all with Tommy. Right. We always said the only way we could fail with this movie, because we knew we had such a strong movie, was we screwed up that chemistry.
Right.
And
right,
after that first
I want to say one more thing, and
Yes.
then we'll move on.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. But in all fairness, you burst into tears if you're hungry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Barry will burst into tears during this conference, I guarantee it. Think of it like this. Think of Danny Glover and Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon,
right,
and somebody comes in and plays a younger Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's like,
it's just, there's no possible
there's no way that's going to
So
work.
that was the feeling when he said, do you want to play this?
If you put it that way, this was a pretty dumb choice for you.
Yeah.
Really dumb. Like career-ending choice.
Yeah.
I haven't. It'll be almost 4 years, I think, since I made a movie. I've been daddying and husbanding and family producing, and we did the Karate Kid and Willow's Music, and Jada had a television show. So I've been sort of. Trying to play Mr. Magic Man with the family, but everybody's ready for Daddy to go back to work.
I don't know that I developed very much, did I?
You've grown up a little bit.
I have. Well, I will say, this doesn't exactly answer your question, but I always, as a cinematographer and as a director, I always shot movies as if they were in 3D. Even though they weren't. I always shot on axis with wide lenses. If you look at Raising Arizona, you think that feels like a 3D movie. So when we did Men in Black, I went to Sony and asked them if I could shoot it, and if I could release the movie in 3D. And they thought that was a great idea. And we shot a whole series of tests with every 3D rig. Yeah. There was a pace, reality, and I realized that a much better way was shooting it on film in 2D and converting it. But for me, I think that one of the biggest things about changing as a director, and I owe Will Smith actually a lot of credit, is as a former cinematographer, actors are your enemy. They never hit their marks. They rehearse things one way, and then they come to the set after they've learned their lines, and now...
Where are you going with this, buddy?
Well, where I'm going with it is, just to give you a little credit, and it's hard for me to do, is that over the years, one of the things I've learned working with Will is really how to communicate with actors and what actors need in each scene. And so I think I've become a better director for actors. I always was very comfortable visually. But the combination of this movie being released in 3D and the quality of acting and how I can now talk to actors, I think is one of the ways I've grown over the last 30 years in the film business.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was, again, because I hadn't worked, in a film in the last 3 or 4 years, I was excited to come back to a character that I knew and, people that I had worked with and just coming back to a comfortable space. And, as an actor, something about the wardrobe awakens the character. If you play a cop, as soon as you put the gun on, for whatever reason, you feel it. And that's how it is for the Men in Black with that black suit. As soon as the suit gets on, the glasses go on, it's like it just washes over you. There's something about that look and that feel that you just, you feel like you know something that other people don't know. And that gives you that sort of, that wink behind your eyes that comes off as cool.
Let me say this, having Will not acted for 3 years. The very first shot we did, which was Will jumping off the Chrysler building, which was on blue screen. And again, Will hadn't acted in 3 years. We roll camera. Will does his first take. I'm watching this first take. I say cut, and thank God Will says the words I'm hoping he'll say, which was, Baz, I can do better. He was just a little rusty.
A little
the first
rusty,
couple
no, a little
of days,
rusty,
yeah.
a little rusty. I mean, I've been whipping my hair and Karate Kid for the last couple months, you know.
But he came around.
What about you, Josh? When you put on the suit, what was it like?
No, it wasn't. It was the glasses. It wasn't the suit. It was the glasses. You know, they were 1960s is a little different suit. When you're a fan of the film, it's kind of, you know, he created the role. So he you know, this was the beginning. It was all a creation for him. For me, I've been watching since 1987. I've been watching with my kids. You know, this was like my Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's what kind of fan I was. I watched it every year when it came on. So it was really strange to do that, to put on the glasses and to show up on the set, you know, very nervous. And during the first scene that we had together, I think we were all sitting there with fingers crossed going, please, God, let this work. Let this not fail, you know, and it worked. But it was fun. It's fun. You know, it's fantasy. It's fantasy.
In all three movies, we've had this surveillance board where Men in Black keep track on famous people that are aliens. In the first one, it was Stallone, Spielberg, Danny DeVito, Michael Jackson. In the second one, we had Martha Stewart. So the way we do it is we try to get together a bunch of names that we think might be aliens. In the case of this one, like we have Tim Burton, who I think isn't an alien but hangs out with aliens. So they keep surveillance on him. We had Lady Gaga. We had Beckham because he's too good not to be an alien. I told Federer, we were with Federer yesterday at the Madrid Open. Surely
he'll be
he's
number 4.
He'll be a number 4 as
sure.
an alien. What you don't want to do is have people that are either politicians that won't travel internationally or in 3 years, who's going to remember Newt Gingrich, you know?
Right.
And then some people, yeah, exactly. And then some people say no. Barbara Streisand is an alien, and speaking of Newt Gingrich, I had to give everyone names, alien names, and then Earth names.
Right.
And the alien name for Lady Gaga was Lady Gaga. But Barbara Streisand, I said, Babs of Newtonia, and she sent back this email, I will not be in any way associated with Newt Gingrich. You must change my name or you can't. I don't care. Pick an alien name. You know.
No, aliens usually react like that, you know.
They get upset.
They get upset.
No,
that's how
true.
you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
These are the conversations we had on the set.
No, but you know, it's funny to me that's a part of what is so clever about this movie. You never say that, oh, that movie's just like Men in Black. Oh yeah, just like Men in Black. There's really nothing that's just like Men in Black, and I think a big part of it is from the twisted sense of humor of Barry Sonnenfeld. You know, and it's like there is a way that he sees the world that is very distinctly Men in Black. Like no one else can direct this because of those sort of quirks, right? Like we had one of the biggest arguments. Biggest arguments I ever had with Barry. We're talking about Frank the Pug for Men in Black 3, the dog, right?
Yeah.
So I say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Frank the Pug is, you know, he's not able to work because he's a recovering alcoholic, right? And I said it would be great, you know, and Frank, he's in recovery and he wants to come back to work, but he's been drinking. And Barry, in dead serious, he looks at me and he said, that's not realistic.
You got to set up your rules.
Right. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, that's not realistic. I said, it's not realistic that the talking alien dog in our movie is an alcoholic.
Absolutely.
But in his mind, it just wasn't like, you know, it didn't fit as an author. Nobody's going to believe that. And I was like,
It's true. We have many fights about realism in this movie.